while. I'd like to do more. And I thought, what better night to do it than one where we're likely about to sweep and win a bunch of not only governor seats, by a bunch, I mean a few, but also the mayorship of New York, along with a few ballot propositions that are very important. I want to talk to you all about Prop 50, which is happening in California. Proposition 50 is going to be incredibly important. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the New York City race. Of course, this is the one that everybody's been watching. And then we can also talk about Virginia, New Jersey, all of the other races that are currently happening, along with the 6 states that have ballot measures. So the 6 states that have ballot measures are California, Colorado, Maine, New York, Texas, and Washington. I want everybody to let me know where you guys are coming from. Did you guys vote today? If you're joining the stream now or watching later, make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the Mockler feed. We're going to go live for a few hours and just talk about the results as they come in. We'll have some friends of the show hop on and talk to us about this all. But the polls in Virginia just closed roughly 9 minutes ago. It's currently 6:09 p.m. and the polls just closed. I see that Tina voted. Someone's watching my AOC video. That's a good one. Go watch that after. You start a poll. Have you liked the stream? Have you voted? That's the more important question. I voted yes on Prop 50, says Denise. Denise says she voted yes on Prop 50. I voted early. That's some good stuff. So we have a politically active base. We've got a lot of high stakes elections taking place today. This video was taken at UC Santa Cruz. So in California, voters are lining up. Look at this. These are young voters lining up in California, presumably to vote yes on Proposition 50. I mean, I don't think these young voters are lining up for Trump's agenda to vote no on it. The Bear Club voted for Mamdani. That's got to be a pretty cool feeling. Any New Yorkers voting on Mamdani? I mean, like, being a part of a political movement, being able to vote on the bleeding edge, the new wave of a political movement, of somebody who can communicate very concisely, very cleanly, it's got to feel good. But this is, UC Santa Cruz, a lot of young voters lining up on Prop 50, or to vote for Prop 50, hopefully yes. We'll see the results on that come out in just a bit. We haven't seen any results on Prop 50. Let's see. The Virginia race polls just closed, so let me actually open up that the live results. Let me give you guys a rundown. You guys want a quick rundown of the elections going on today? This article from Slow Boring gives a very comprehensive rundown. We can just run through it very, very quickly. In Virginia, we have Democrat Abigail Spanberger, who is leading Republican Winsome Earl Sears. Yeah, that's Republican Winsome Earl Sears in the governor's race. Abigail Spanberger is leading by a lot. She might win by 8 or 9 points. You also have New Jersey, where Democrat Mikey Sherrill is very likely to win. And then, of course, in New York City, Zoran is very likely to win. He's been running just a firebrand of a campaign. I voted yes on Prop 50. That's good to hear. Let me turn up my audio input if you guys think it's a bit low. 1 second. I got you. That should be a bit louder. Okay. To continue, a very comprehensive rundown of the elections. First, let's set the stakes. Let's set the players. Let's know where these elections are taking place. We have about 1,000 people in here, so make sure you drop a like. Let's check this out. So, Democrats retain their advantage in closely contested races. As we get closer and closer to the polls closing, or to Election Day in general, as we got closer to today, the Democrats maintain their lead. New polling shows several major blue state contests tightening, but Democrats are still ahead. In Virginia, Abigail Spanberger leads Winsome Earl Sears by roughly 8 to 10 points in the governor's race. Meanwhile, in the race for Attorney General, Jay Jones has fallen behind the incumbent, unfortunately, due to the text that surfaced. Ooh, we have a few chats in a row. I can't speak today. We have a few chats in a row saying, I voted yes on Prop 50. The next chat says, I just voted yes on Prop 50. Let's go. Polls closed in Virginia. Yep, just about 15 minutes ago, polls closed in Virginia. I'm hoping we come away from this election night feeling a bit better than we did last election night, but the bar is pretty damn low for that. All right, to continue. In New Jersey, we have Democrat Mikey Sherrill, who is maintaining a slim advantage over her opponent, but the advantage is still there. The advantage is still looking good. And then finally, of course, in New York City, Democratic Assemblymember Zohran Mamdani holds a commanding edge over former Governor Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa. We also have a lot of ballot measures. I want to talk a bit about Prop 50 as we get the results coming in, because I find Prop 50 to be very important. All of these races are very important and have downstream effects. We're going to have Micah Irfan coming on in about 15 minutes to talk about all of the effects at play. But I will say, Prop 50 has a lot of stake. It has really high stakes. Just to lay the overall, just to paint the picture of Prop 50, Donald Trump called Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, and essentially said, I need 5 new seats. In order to win the midterms, we're going to need 5 new seats in 2026. Now, you're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to do this at the beginning of every 10 years. You redistrict or you have a census. And the president isn't supposed to be commanding this. So this is entirely unprecedented. They wanted to craft 5 new seats because that's what they needed to maintain a majority. Governor Gavin Newsom is one of the only Democrats who's really stepped up and said, listen, if they are going to cheat 5 new seats out, what we're going to do is democratically have 5 new seats. I see that we have results starting to come in. Let me pop this up. Give me 1 second. % of the expected vote is in. Honestly, the indicators that we're going to have from 1% of the vote being in, not good yet. It doesn't matter when 1% is in. Even when 30% is in, it could still be different. Even when 80% of the vote is in, things could still shift. But right now, with 1% of the vote in, Abigail Spanberger is up. That is good, but it's too early to call. Let's wait. What was I talking about before we got these results? Oh, Prop 50. Why Prop 50 is so incredibly important. Governor Gavin Newsom is putting up one of the best fights in the country. One of the only. I see you, Modest. What's up? How's everybody doing? I see you, Chris. Again, let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from. And if you voted today, let me know as well. We had a few people earlier in a row who said they voted yes on Prop 50, which is great. I'm assuming almost everybody in this chat, hopefully everybody in this chat that voted yes on Prop 50. Watching from San Jose. NYC needs a new generation. That's good. Michigan voted. We're at 2K live. This is some good stuff for a special election on an off year. But okay, going back to Prop 50, Governor Gavin Newsom then realizes, wait a minute, Donald Trump is trying to cheat us out of 5 seats. The only way to do this is to hold a special vote. And he named it Proposition 50. Proposition 50 says that they can create an independent redistricting committee that for the next 4 years can redistrict the state of California just from 2026 to 2030. Just from 2026 to 2030. That's very important. And it's reciprocal. It is directly reciprocal to what Texas is doing. So if you think about it, Governor Newsom is essentially trying to neutralize what Trump is doing. Trump tried to cheat. Governor Gavin Newsom says, you can't do that. We're going to neutralize that. To continue, though, we still have less than 1% of the vote in. Abigail Spanberger has a lead, but I mean, like I said, it doesn't really matter when we have less than 1% in. We're going to have some fun guests popping in a bit. How's everybody doing tonight? It's been a while since I've streamed. What's up, Christopher? My mom had heard on WhatsApp to vote no, but then I explained the whole thing in time for her to vote. Okay, that's good. That's good that you were able to change your mom's mind on Prop 50. Everyone's doing well. Any less popular races? Yeah, we can look at the 24 ballot initiatives. So Prop 50 would authorize the state to use new congressional maps. We see Colorado. 2 measures address the Healthy School Meals for All program. One allows the state to retain and spend additional revenue to use for school meals. Another funds the program by limiting income tax deductions for those earning above $300,000. In Maine, question 1 would require photo ID for all voters, both in person and absentee, and change rules for absentee ballots and drop boxes. In New York, there is a constitutional amendment regarding the Olympics. In Texas, there are 17 statewide measures. Some of them bar non-citizens from voting in any state or local elections. We have Propositions 2, 6, and 8 in Texas, which would prohibit certain types of taxes, including those on capital gains, securities transactions, and estates. And in Washington, a measure referred by the legislature would allow the state's long-term services and supports trust fund to be invested in stocks, aiming to improve returns. So some of them aren't as high. I mean, these are all high stakes, don't get me wrong. Local politics is very important, but the Prop 50 is kind of turning into this national battle that reflects what the next 6 to 7 years would look like. Hell yeah. Voted no on all the amendments in Texas. That sounds good. Voted yes on 50 in California. That sounds great. Adam, what do you think of Trump saying he'll deny federal aid? He's trying to influence the election as it's taking place. In his mind, I think in his simple mind, he views things through the lens of leverage. And this isn't me even trying to sane wash him. You just see this in the way that Trump operates with tariffs and with everything else. He thinks he's gaining leverage by saying the most radical things possible, but it just makes him seem like a radical asshole, you know? Like what? I don't know what else to say at that point. Housing on the ballot. In New York City, housing is on the ballot. Zohran Mamdani said he voted yes on the first 4, but no on question 6, I believe. That is what he said. Elsa, thank you so much. Thank you for the donations. Let's hop into these, and then we'll pull some guests in the chat. Joanne, how you doing? Thank you very much, Joanne. Thank you, Jack. Showing love from Scotland. Appreciate that. Thank you, Elsa. Yeah, for the people just joining, it seems like voters at the University of California, Santa Cruz were lining up to presumably vote yes on Prop 50. I'm assuming all of these young voters weren't in line to vote no on Prop 50. Voted yes on 50, said Josephine. I sent my vote in the mail. The next day I received it. That's great. Yeah, if we can get a sweep. So Kalshi says that we should be headed for a sweep. Kalshi says that we should be headed for a sweep. Hypothetically. But here's a long line of kids. Not kids. Here's a long line of grown adult voters, just young people who are lined up to vote, hopefully yes, on Prop 50. At the same time, we went through a lot of the ballot initiatives regarding housing, regarding Prop 50. Now, let's continue to check the votes as they come in. So on NBC News, on the decision desk, let's just break down what we're looking at. At the bottom, you can see that we have 1.9% of the expected votes. There's 3.4 million remaining, so don't get too excited. Calm down. Don't get too excited. But Abigail Spanberger is ahead by a little bit. And we can see it live updating. Let me pull up the same exact chart for New Jersey and New York. And then we'll hang out. No updates for New Jersey. And then I'm assuming New York, we don't have anything in yet. But to continue, we've seen historic turnout in a few elections so far. So check this out. Jersey City. These are just some interesting comparisons that we can make. Jersey City, the 2021 final turnout for the 2021 election. The final turnout was 44,000. In 2025, by the time it was noon, we already had 39,960, so almost 40,000. Just think about that. By noon today, we had almost the same amount of final votes that we saw 4 years ago. That indicates just historic turnout. Maybe not historic, but uniquely high turnout that is veering on historic. Yes, it is a good sign, as people in chat are saying. The next one, Essex County, New Jersey, is now at 118% turnout compared to the 2021 governor election. So other counties in New Jersey are exceeding their turnout from 4 years ago, which is a good sign. It's a good sign. That is objectively a good thing to see this so far. Let me see if this is legit. Ooh, 4 minutes ago, Decision Desk HQ. Let me make sure this is a legitimate account. Yeah, the legitimate Decision Desk HQ account just said Abigail Spanberger is projected to win the Virginia governor election. Let's go, chat. That's a good sign. Stop the count. Stop the count right now. No more. No, I'm just joking, obviously. But this is a good sign. This is a great sign. I mean, Kalshi says that we're likely to sweep tonight. So it's going to be a nice, easy night. This is terrific news. Yeah. Glenn Youngkin will be replaced. That's some great news. One more time, just to run it back. Decision Desk HQ projects Abigail Spanberger to win the Virginia governor election. We have a lot at stake tonight. Beyond Virginia, which has been called, we still have the attorney general race in Virginia. In New Jersey, we have Democrat Mickey Sherrill. That's going to be interesting. She should win. We have obviously Zohran Mamdani. That'll just be sad. That'll be cathartic. You know what I mean? Like, we've kind of known it's been a soft victory for a bit. But something about seeing the final results, in my opinion, will be very cathartic because it marks a new era, a new wave. Very solid. Okay, so to continue, though. Maine has a lot of ballot initiative, or Maine has a ballot initiative, question 1. California has Prop 50. Prop 50 is the big one. By the way, when Zohran wins, he starts his term as the mayor on January 1st, which is pretty exciting, right? So when Zohran wins, we won't have to wait that long to see him, do the transition of power, to take over. Abigail Spanberger has just won, which is amazing. We have Mikey Sherrill, which results have not quite come in yet. We do have historic turnout in Jersey as well. So we have a lot of people in chat who voted yes on Prop 50, which is great. It seems like people really understand the stakes at play. I want to bring in Micah Irfan, to talk about this a bit more, because he'll have some unique insights on the news that we just got. By the way, to recap the news, we just learned moments ago, where did this go? That Abigail Spanberger is projected to win the Virginia governor election. All right, let's bring in Micah Irfan. Let's chat with him about this a bit more. How you doing? Let me make sure that everyone can hear you. Say what's up.
Hey, how's it going?
Did you hear the news?
I got a new governor in Virginia.
Yes.
Miss Abigail.
No more Glenn Youngkin, thank God. So you go to school and you live in Virginia, of course. Can you fill me in about the stakes on the ground? Because you might have some unique insight that I don't have over here in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, Abigail Spanberger ran a fantastic campaign. I voted for her, and the stakes were enormous when it comes to her victory. We've had Republicans.
1 second. There's an echo. Let me make sure I cut this out. Let me fix it.
I can put on.
No, it was on me. It was on my side. I just had to silence myself. All right, continue. My bad.
Okay. The stakes have been tremendous because we've had Republicans controlling the state of Virginia for so long that have not put Virginians first, that have had their radical right-wing agenda, pro-Trump agenda, and haven't defended our universities from the attacks of the Trump Department of Justice. I go to UVA, and the Trump administration tried to force on us a compact which would have given the DOJ, the federal government, control over our university practically. They could fire professors, choose which curriculum was appropriate, do ideological vetting on our programs, and force out international students. That is a deal they try to coerce out of us that the Republican attorney general and the Republican governor refused to fight back against. Abigail Spanberger will stand up for the independence of our academic institutions, amongst many other things. And that's why I'm so happy she won.
Yeah, it's super nice to see finally some Democratic momentum. I just want to make sure in chat it's not echoing still, right? We're good. We're good on mine. Now, someone said it's too early to count, but no, I mean, Decision Desk HQ made their projection based on the data that they have. Some places may not have called yet, but it seems like it's good. Okay, so we're good on the echo. Well, what I was saying while it was echoing is that Micah lives in Virginia. He goes to school in Virginia, meaning he does have this unique insights. I think it's great news. How do you feel about Prop 50? I've seen some videos. I've played some videos on stream of young people lining up to vote yes, presumably, but there was a lot of money going into Prop 50, the anti-Prop 50 side too. Like this sprint of a campaign, I don't know how much they spent. Wasn't it almost $100 million on both sides? They spent a shit ton of money trying to spread the word about this. But how do you feel about the national stakes of Prop 50?
Prop 50 is essential. The Republican Party has lost a huge amount of support amongst Americans since Trump's election, very narrowly. He didn't even get 50% of the vote. They decided to act like they had a generational majority and push a far-right extreme agenda. They did the largest tax hike in American history, the largest benefit cut in American history, Medicaid, SNAP, $186 billion. Then they decided to send ICE goons, over 20,000 of them, on our streets to arrest American citizens, sometimes military veterans, brutalize them, break their bones. And Trump 24/7, the Republicans 24/7, demean every single person in this country that has a bone to pick with them. Anybody who's not fully signed on to their agenda, they relentlessly attack. And so they know that their popularity is falling. And that's why they've worked so hard to try to rig the next election. And they've tried to do that via redrawing maps. In Texas, the state I'm from, they stole 5 seats from the voters of Texas and from Democrats in an attempt to rig the next election. We've seen the same thing going on in Indiana recently with North Carolina. Democrats have to fight back if we want to keep democracy intact and we want to hold Republicans accountable and stop their effort to basically eliminate the ability of Americans to peacefully vote them out. It's absolutely essential. And I'm so happy I believe it's going to pass today.
Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting for a while for some Democrat to step up to the plate and use the same mechanisms that Trump has been using against us, which is basically, I don't know, the system, using attention, using crazy tweets. We've been waiting for someone to step up and flip that away, or flip that against them, and it feels like that finally happened. Governor Newsom stepped in. He stepped into the race, and I guess he started Prop 50, and he put it up for a vote because he realized that if he drives attention to that, and then he does it in a reciprocal way towards Texas, he can actually make a difference. He can equalize, or I guess neutralize, what Donald Trump is trying to do, and it seems to be working. I think Governor Newsom was very clever in the way that he did it democratically. He made sure that he put it up for a vote. Meanwhile, Texas is just forcing it. So overall, it's great to see Democrats pushing back. And man, I'm still happy about this Abigail Spanberger news. I don't know. We knew that the Democrats were likely to sweep that race, likely to win the Zoran race, but it feels like it's cathartic. It's cathartic to see the actual results coming in, right?
I mean, absolutely. We've been dealing with Republicans in the state for 4 years, and it's been awful. Finally, we have this change. And Winsome Sears, the Republican candidate, was totally deranged and insane. I mean, every single ad she had was about bathrooms and bullying transgender people, and nothing about actual policies to benefit Virginians in a time where unemployment's going up, inflation is going up, the economic conditions are deteriorating. It's about only like 25% of Americans feel good about where the economy is. And the overwhelming majority feel that the economy is getting worse each day. We need a governor which actually prioritizes making our economic conditions better. And that is exactly what I think Abigail Spanberger will do.
And just to zoom out a little bit, this is all happening under a high stakes government shutdown that Republicans are losing. According to the polling, Republicans are being blamed for this disproportionately. On top of that, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I understand that she has some other intentions, that her and Trump were beefing. I just made a video about this, but All of that aside, Marjorie Taylor Greene, during this very high stakes moment, is doing a media circuit and essentially exposing the Republican Party for not having a healthcare plan. She said over and over on TV, that Mike Johnson does not have a plan, that she has to go into the skiff to even see the plan. And when she goes into the skiff, she doesn't know if there's even a plan whatsoever. It's just not even concepts. So that means she's essentially playing Trump's hand. Trump's entire thesis is that if we start the government, if we open the government, he will enact his quote unquote healthcare plan. But there is no plan. So how do you feel about the government shutdown? How does it intersect with the Republican Party's unpopularity? And then we can zoom back into some of these races.
I mean, Republicans have a trifecta. They control the White House, the president, they control the Senate and the House. There's a government shutdown on their watch. Trump said previously that the president is responsible for government shutdowns that happen on their watch. And I think he's sort of right, especially in this case. I mean, who can Republicans point the finger at? They expect Democrats in the Senate to vote for a piece of legislation which takes away healthcare from millions of Americans and triples, quadruples some Americans' premiums, and then want to say it's Democrats' fault that bill didn't pass. Of course, it's the Republicans' fault. If Republicans would have just voted for and worked with Democrats, just a few of them, to pass a bill that preserves existing funding for healthcare and wasn't trying to devastate the economic conditions of millions of Americans, then the government would be open. But they won't do that, right? Because their agenda is based on taking from the poor and giving it to the rich. It's what they do every single time they're in power. It's their number one priority, the most consistent thing the Republican Party stands for. And that's why the government been shut down for 35 days. And it's having disastrous consequences on many populations, especially Virginians, which have such a large percentage of the workforce working in the federal government. And as you can see already with the Abigail Spanberger election result, and I think you're going to see more tonight, people are not buying this idea that Democrats, which are not in power, are to blame for the shutdown that's happening under Trump's watch.
Yeah, and what do you think the biggest misunderstanding is from people who are on the outside trying to talk about the Virginia race? Because you've been, on the ground. You've been covering this. You've been talking about this every single day. You've been following it closely. You even went to a rally, right?
Yeah. I got the opportunity to interview Spanberger personally about a week or 2 weeks ago, which is a fantastic experience, and Secretary Buttigieg.
What did you learn about her? What did you learn from them? Because when I'm in a room with people like that, I usually am learning from their mannerisms or their the way they operate. Like, how was that experience?
I met a lot of politicians, and some politicians you can tell are just not. They're kind of one way on the cameras, and they're one way behind the scenes. And some of them you could tell are kind of self-absorbed. I gotta say, Abigail genuinely is the furthest thing from those things. Like, she is honestly maybe even nicer behind the scenes than she is on camera, if it's even believable. She is a genuinely sweet and kind person who wants to do a good job for Virginians, and she's not like an ultra partisan. I know a lot of Republicans have tried to present her as some sort of extremist, which is the furthest possible thing from reality. Abigail Spanberger is running on doing tax cuts. She's a former CIA agent who believes that we need to have more law enforcement officers to keep our streets safe. By all stretches of the imagination, Abigail Spanberger is not an extremist. She was actually one of the most bipartisan members of Congress back when she was in office. It's very clear to me that Republicans around this country, especially ones outside of the state of Virginia, consider anybody who's not fully on board with Trump's radical authoritarian, some say, I think so, fascist agenda. They say anybody who's not fully on board with that is an extremist. I don't think they know what the word means, Adam.
No, they're inversing reality in the most literal sense when they say that we're extremists, like you said, because we're not on board with the most radical policies that they have. So Donald Trump will call center-left Democrats extremists or radicals. Donald Trump will say that Joe Biden is a communist. Meanwhile, he's trying to end birthright citizenship via executive order. He's trying to enact the most radical redistricting that we've seen ever. I mean, this is unprecedented, and he's out there. I mean, the list could go on and on. The way that this dude speaks, the way that the people around him operate, we always talk about this. It's as if they don't want the Democratic Party to exist. And honestly, he's calling to terminate the filibuster right now, which further just proves that. Really quickly, I'm going to pop you off screen just so I can update. For everybody just joining, Decision Desk HQ projects Abigail Spanberger to win the Virginia governor election. New Jersey results have not started to trickle in yet, but Mikey Sherrill is favored. Polls close in 22 minutes. in New Jersey. I want to get Micah's opinion on some of the housing initiatives that we see. I'm going to read some of them off to you. I think it's important that we talk about some of the other initiatives other than Prop 50, which is very big, very high stakes. We're going to talk about that a lot. But in New York City, for example, beyond the mayoral race that's grabbing national attention, New Yorkers will vote on a suite of housing and planning amendments that could overhaul how the city approves development projects. Question 2 fast tracks approvals for publicly financed affordable housing. Question 3 streamlines land use reviews for housing and infrastructure projects. Question 4 creates an affordable housing appeals board to overturn city council rejections of affordable housing. Zoran voted yes on those 3 and the next one. Question 5 digitizes the official city map. And then I believe Zoran voted no on question 6, which was shifting local elections to presidential years starting in 2028. I'm going to bring Micah back in. Micah, you're good on housing, right? You like this topic a lot. Let me know. What are you thinking about these initiatives, or to the extent that you've been paying attention?
No, I think they're fantastic. And I have been paying attention. I have the weird habit of paying attention to the really specific proposals in other cities with excitement. I like to see when good things are happening. It makes me feel better about our world. My background's in housing. I fought to pass, and I got passed 4 bills in the state of Texas on housing. And the reality is, Adam, we need more housing. Our generation, the number one economic issue of our generation is the housing issue. It's the number one line item in our budget, and it keeps going up every single year. And the big reason why is because we're not building enough. And the question is, why are we not building enough? Well, it's because governments intentionally make it hard to build. Governments have an array of policies that restrict the development of more affordable housing types, that try to protect the wealth of wealthy neighborhoods from the developments needed for affordability. They don't want new entrants to their neighborhoods. They don't want more housing, because when there's more housing, costs come down. They want prices to keep going up because they already own a massive amounts of properties, and they benefit from that asset appreciation. What New York is doing is fantastic. It's a step in the right direction, but I think we're just getting started. We need a lot more work on this issue from Democratic cities and Democratic leaders around this country to really get housing costs down.
It's going to be interesting to see how Zoran maneuvers through the government when he takes office on January 1st. I mean, an executive position is a little bit different than an assembly member, and he's going to be having to not only run a team, which he did well during the campaign, but negotiate and build coalitions. It's going to be different than running a campaign. We're going to see how he does. I think he'll do a great job. I mean, he's very charismatic, but he's got some ambitious policy proposals. Let me read through some of the chats popping up on screen. Someone said, did Mamdani win? We don't know yet. We haven't started to get results for the New York one, but Abigail Spanberger won. Someone said, I wish Jay Jones hadn't sent those texts. I'm sure Jay Jones wishes the same thing right now. I think a lot of people are like,
a lot of us are wishing Jay Jones did something different.
Yeah, I wish the texts were like, hey, I love everyone. We should love all. And those texts were the ones that leaked. Someone said baby faces. Hey, we both have mature masculine faces. We don't have baby faces.
I'm sorry that our skin is good. Okay.
Yeah. Someone said, did they call it for New York? No, we're not close to calling it for New York. In Virginia, that's the main one that's been called. We're still waiting on results to trickle in. The polls haven't closed yet in New Jersey. It's 19 more minutes until the polls close there. The one that's going to be interesting to see is Prop 50. I'm interested to see the breakdown, like the demographics. Like, did some Republicans in the state vote for it? I'm assuming it's going to be long party lines, but like I said earlier, I'm going to take Mike off screen for 1 second. Like I said earlier, we had these videos of young people lining up to essentially vote in California. And of course, this could just be one college campus of people who are uniquely motivated, but it's nice to see young people. What was the turnout like on your college campus in Virginia? If you saw anything.
We saw a really strong turnout. I haven't looked at the specific turnout numbers for the college because there's a bunch of precincts around it, but the polling locations were all full. People were getting out because they realized what's happening matters. I mean, students at the University of Virginia, students at my law school are starting to get personally affected by the policies of this administration. We have law firms that are restricting associate speech because they know that Trump is so vindictive and so willing to abuse his powers as chief executive that he goes after law firms that have associates who express opinions he doesn't like. He's done this with plenty of law firms already, and that's why now a lot of law students are scared about speaking out politically. Also, there's the student loan cap, which many might not be aware of, that Republicans passed, which caps student loans for graduate programs like law school at $50,000 a year. That includes your cost of living. At the University of Virginia School of Law, the tuition alone is about $80,000 plus $30,000 or $40,000 cost of living. Now, students at UVA, they have to borrow $70,000 or so in private high interest loans just to go to school here. And that's because of Trump and the Republicans. Elections matter. And I think students are realizing that.
Yeah, I really quickly, someone in chat said, I voted yes on 50, Prop 50, in a bright red Trump county. It seemed like Trumpers didn't even know about the vote. That's pretty good. So there was a lot of money pouring into the no on Prop 50. There was a lot of money pouring into that. But it seems like, all things considered, sorry, all things considered, it seems like the Republicans didn't do a good job of promoting this. Donald Trump wasn't really talking about it. Donald Trump has been radically talking about, terminating the filibuster. He's been talking about Jay Jones. They've been trying to pivot to these other issues. But when it comes to Prop 50, Governor Newsom was able to control the narrative on this. And this is what I really liked about Governor Newsom's strategy. He took the Trump strategy of, number one, saying crazy shit. He was holding a mirror up to their face. But he did that, in my opinion, to drive attention to him, to California, and to his proposition. Once you drive the attention there, you can drive home the action that needs to be taken, which is voting yes. And that's how we see turnout. I mean, if Governor Newsom wasn't memeing all over the internet, if Governor Newsom, for example, was barely talking about this and doing it in like a boring way, like all of our other politicians, he just gets in front of the camera and he's like, you should vote yes, and here's why. That's boring as fuck. Nobody cares about that. Nobody wants to hear that. What he did grabbed everybody's attention. People were paying attention to him, and then he used that to funnel people in. So that's just, some commenter said that they voted in a bright red Trump county, bright red Trump area, and Trumpers didn't really know much about it. It's good to hear that. It's good to hear that.
I think Gavin Newsom's done a fantastic job at politics. I think more politicians need to follow his playbook because we live in an attention economy. You have to make things flashy to get in front of people these days because ultimately people are turned off of politics. They think it's boring. They think it's depressing, and they don't think their vote matters. You have to be dynamic, flashy, creative, interesting to get people to go out to vote. And I think Gavin's been doing a great job of that.
We're going to pull a few more people in for sure. But I want to pull someone in a few minutes that's in New York City, because I think that'll be interesting to hear somebody who's in New York City talk about this. Okay, cool. We'll get some on the ground information. Let's read some more chats. Someone said very tiny hands. Someone said, you two young men do have mature faces. Thank you. I was trying to tell this other commenter that we do have mature faces because they were saying we have.
Thank you. Yeah, somebody's taking our side. Adam, you talked about how Trump does not believe and Republicans don't believe the Democratic Party should exist. And I think that that's one of the reasons why the Republicans are doing so bad today. I mean, even if you're not a Democrat, I think the vast majority of people, my grandparents are conservatives, think that there should be an opposition. They don't believe in an authoritarian government that brutally crushes everybody who dissents against the government. They don't believe that we should end free speech. Trump said we had to get rid of free speech. He had to take it away. It's an actual quote from him. It's unbelievable. And so I think that there is a real revulsion that Americans have to kind of how craven and open the Republican power grab has been over the past 10 months.
Because it's so fundamentally undemocratic and so open about it, like you said. I guess in a democracy, you want two parties that can kind of act as a rubber band. So if one party is pulled too far to one side, the other party can then win power, and then, you moderate each other, ideally. But it seems like what Trump wants is to have no tension on the other side of the rubber band so that him and his party are able to go as far off to one side as possible with no pushback. And we're kind of seeing the manifestation of that. I mean, they don't have a one-party control, but we see the manifestation of this when the Heritage Foundation refuses to condemn Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes or the way that they create the permission structure. So now the Republican Party does have power. They have total power right now, essentially, unfortunately. And the Republican Party is being pulled off a far-right cliff due to Donald Trump. And this is something that we've talked about a lot. It's something that we kind of tested out on stage a few times. We've tested out on certain debate platforms. And it's that Donald Trump does not want the Democratic Party to exist. I think this is the perfect distillation of what we've seen over the past 10 years. We've seen a lot of attacks on democratic institutions, like you said, law firms. Now it's Act Blue, but no one's really been able to distill it in such a simple way, other than Donald Trump does not want the other party to exist. He doesn't want people to criticize him, or else you get pulled off the air, or else you face consequences. He doesn't want people to be able to have interviews of the opposition candidates like Kamala Harris, or else you legitimately get sued. He does not want people to be able to donate to Act Blue. They are going to start investigating Act Blue, or maybe the investigation is active right now. They are trying to take down democratic infrastructure. And honestly, a few things are a great example of that are happening today. Every day is a new example of that. Number one, Donald Trump wanting to terminate the filibuster so that Congress is quite literally just one party control. Number two, Donald Trump wanting to rig the Texas congressional map so that it's just one party control. It's so incredibly obvious. And, I'm going to pull in friend of the show, Cameron Kasky, very quickly. We're going to all chat together, all three of us. Are you in New York City right now?
Goddamn right, I'm in New York City right now.
Let's go. How's the energy in New York City? Wait a minute. So we have someone in Virginia who gets to celebrate in Virginia, and that's Micah. And we have someone in New York City. How you doing, Cam?
I'm chilling. Micah, what's up, baby? This is the first time Micah and I have ever really gotten to hang out.
It's the first Cameron Micah crossover, guys. Also, we just won the lieutenant governor's race in Virginia, so
Jay
another
Jones
W on the board. It's
Jay
a great
Jones.
night.
Let's go, Jay Jones.
No, that's not the attorney. No, not the attorney general's race. We're still waiting on that one.
Sorry,
Lieutenant governor's race. Hashmi. If Jay Jones wins, that's a sad night for the Republican Party.
Yeah,
that's
bad.
the night that I'm
so
praying
Jay
for.
Jones has not won. Sorry, I thought you said the attorney general
Misinformation, Adam.
Misinformation.
Fake news.
Okay, either way, no, that's good. That means there is momentum in Virginia. Turnout has been very high. Cam, let's pivot over to New York. I want to hear a little bit about what's been going on, not only with you, but let's start off with the Zoran race.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the interesting one. So for those of you who don't know, there's an individual who's running for mayor in New York City named Zoran Mamdani. Zoran is a self-identified socialist, and there's an individual who is up against him for mayor and challenging him named Curtis Sliwa. Mm-hmm. Now, Curtis was a member of a vigilante force, or still is the member of a vigilante force called the Guardian Angels, and they wear red berets and harass people on the street. Also, there's a former governor named Andrew Cuomo, who many people might know from the race that he's been in to destroy Mario Cuomo's legacy harder between him and Chris. They are both competing very hard to see who can drag their last name through the mud more aggressively. And tonight, I think Andrew's going to take a very steady lead. But we'll see, man. I mean, I don't know. I thought Kamala Harris was going to win the 2024 election until Trump won Georgia. So like everybody's talking about election 2024. They're like, oh, I saw it coming. Ooh, I knew he was going to win. And I'm like, man, it wasn't until like the evening that I started to be afraid. I spent most of my election day 2024 feeling chill as hell, being like, oh, she's going to handily defeat him. She's going to take this swing state, this swing state. So I don't know, man. It seems like Zoran is going to handily defeat his Republican competitors, but also people might write in Andrew Yang. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good night for Democrats. How are you feeling about I feel like the Democratic Party is at a crossroads sort of, and the Zoran win helps a lot with momentum.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's nice to see a politician be popular. I think that that's something that a lot of people are noticing, is that there's a politician in the Democratic Party who people do not feel is, letting them down or low energy. And Zoran is presenting a vision of the future that is bold and presents people with some sort of sense that the problems they're facing in their day-to-day life actually have solutions. I think that there's this dooming happening across the board where people say, okay, things are obviously going to be getting a lot worse before they get any better. So is there a chance we can maybe mitigate some of the harm? Is there a chance we could have someone who's just going to slow down the fall of our institutions just a little bit more? And Zoran's coming in, he's being like, hey guys, stuff can be good. And your day-to-day life can get better. And we can work in the direction of making this city work more positively for you. And I just think that that's resonated with people more so than the Cuomo campaign, which has been like, hey, I'm not the brown Muslim guy, and you know my last name, and you remember me from TV. You two are pretty young, but you remember when people were talking about being Cuomo-sexuals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that was the COVID thing, and then we
That
found
was
out that he was a sexual predator,
well.
and then we
Also,
also found that he killed a bunch of
COVID
people.
was also pretty brutal for
Yeah,
Cuomo.
then we found out he killed a bunch of old people as well. Cuomo is, I mean, it's he should get 0% as far as I'm concerned in this election. I think that you're right. Like people actually look at Zoran and they're inspired. They feel like there's a real vision. It's like it's a very positive, affordability centered vision. And I think the Democratic Party's brand for a long time, and Pete Buttigieg just talked about this, has just been being anti the Republicans, which is like we're very anti the Republicans here. The Adam Mockler
It
family is
doesn't work
very anti
anymore
Republicans.
when you're failing to put up an opposition. Like,
Can I just say,
people-
Cam said that we're both young guys, but you're a year older than both of us. You're like, you two are quite young.
I'm
So
about to be 25, dude. Famously so.
speaking of you about to be 25,
The most
you know
famously
you were trying to
25.
segue. So we actually do have some news. I mean, do you want to announce the status of your run?
My run.
Yeah, your run for Congress.
Okay, the Cameron run. That's why everyone's on the stream.
Everyone's been waiting
The
for the
potential
announcement.
Cameron Kasky for Congress.
I don't know if it's
announcement
official
is
or not, so I don't want to
happening.
speak for you is the thing. So let's hear it.
Well, we can't hide that we filed. Unfortunately, once you file with the FEC, that gets out, and people have definitely noticed. As a matter of fact, the Daily Beast did an article about it where they used a low-angle selfie of me that I had posted on Instagram. You can see right here, Parkland shooting survivor, gonna run for and then they look at this picture that they used. Like, I think
Oh
this
my.
might be the first time in political media from like a mainstream outlet where somebody's like grandpa angle selfie has been used in an article like that.
Does the
But,
person that made that article, do they really like your opponent or some shit?
well, it's like, I don't care. It's not like an unflattering picture of me. It's just look, all of the pictures of me that are official, that look like they could be an official photograph, are from when I was 17 and 18 years old when I was running March for Our Lives. So like, I kind of appreciate them using photos of me from now that I have completed puberty. The first publication to write about it was Politico. Emily Yo, who's a great journalist, she's on MSNBC all the time. She used a photograph of me making just like this like weird face when I was 17. And I'm like, ma'am, like if I'm gonna have the back pain of somebody who's aging, can you at least
Hold up. I hate
present
to cut off your story, and I want to hear about your race in 1 second, but we have some news. I'm going to switch screens very quickly. Sorry, we're going to switch back to this, but for some news very quickly, the Virginia Attorney General election winner. So this is the race of Jay Jones. We just saw, at least according to Polymarket, new data has completely skyrocketed Jay Jones' chance of winning. So I just want to be clear. It has not been called. We don't have the official results. But as the data comes in, and as we get more and more, it does look good for the Democrats. Let me pull up the specific. So Abigail Spanberger just ahead very cleanly. It seems like Jay Jones is ahead by 2,000 votes. How is this so? Jay Jones is ahead by 2,000 votes, but Polymarket has a high interval of confidence that he's going to win. Let me switch back.
Reporting right now.
Yeah.
And all the election nerds are out there saying that Jay Jones looks like he's in a very good position to win. Even Republicans are saying that because of the distribution of county reporting. Clearly, there's actually $2 million in volume on Polymarket in terms of how much money that people are spending on this race. And as you might remember, just 2 days ago or 3 days ago, Polymarket had Jay Jones at a 30% chance or 20%.
Well, let's talk about Polymarket for a second. Polymarket tweeted out that Zoran Mamdani has a 92% chance of winning. He's on the ballot 2 times. As if it's some odd thing that a candidate in New York City is on the ballot multiple times. As if Curtis Lewa isn't also on the ballot multiple times. And Andrew Cuomo in 2018 and 2014 wasn't on the ballot over 5 times. Like in New York City, you can vote for candidates in various different ways.
They're
whether
rage
that's
baiting. I think they're rage baiting. Like they sent one the other day that was like Zoran's odds of winning have just plummeted and it went from like 95 to 90. And when I saw it, it got like 25 million views. I was like, oh, they're using an attention whore strategy. They're trying to gain attention. But with Jay Jones, dude, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm just going to switch back from you guys. I'll switch back to you guys 1 second. I'm going to pull up the poly market. You can see, as Michael was saying, just a few days ago, Jay Jones, who is the orange line right here, had less than a 50% chance. This looks like a 35% chance of winning. And then over the past few minutes, he skyrocketed, and it's very likely he's going to win. It's interesting because I was in DC a few weeks back to do that one panel at the Kennedy Center with Cuomo. And while I was in DC, my hotel had TVs playing rerun ads over and over and over of Jay Jones texts. And the line that they used was like, it was pretty captivating for a campaign ad. It was like, if he doesn't even want your children to be safe, how can you trust him as the state's AG or something like that?
Oh, that's who Jay Jones. He's the guy with the texts.
Yeah, the text guy.
He's gonna win.
He's gonna win. Yeah. What do you think about this matchup?
Well,
Dude, they made those texts their entire personality. Those texts blew their minds.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is Jay Jones is underperforming Abigail Spanberger like 10 points, but the blue wave it's a blue tsunami. So it's totally possible that Jay Jones wins. It seems more likely than not. And it's actually important, despite the fact that Jay Jones might be an odd dude who said some bad things that he's apologized for. We needed an attorney general in the state of Virginia, which is not just an extension of the Trump DOJ, which is going after every single independent voice of opposition, going after our academic institutions, our law firms, waging a legal war on our state. We need an attorney general's office that actually defends Virginia's institutions. And that's in part because the attorney general's office of Virginia is one of the few institutions that actually has legal standing, something I'm learning in law school, to defend us in many of these cases. If we have a Republican there, we simply won't be able to defend against the Trump administration's attacks. And that is unconscionable.
Very quickly, I'm going to switch and we're going to watch Fox News calling the Abigail Spanberger race, and then we'll talk about Cam's race. But Fox News, Laura Ingraham was just forced to call this. This is going to be funny. Let's take a look.
From and really,
we have to interrupt, guys. We have a Fox News alert. The Fox News decision desk can now project that Democrat Abigail Spanberger will become the next governor of Virginia. The former House rep will be the first ever woman to lead the Commonwealth. It's
first
a one-term governorship, as everyone knows. She once served as a CIA officer, and she defeats Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears. Doug Schoen, this was predicted. Maybe it turns out about it.
Laura Ingram's so funny. She's like, "Well, this was predicted." But Cam, okay, let's skip to the chase. What's incentivizing? What's your vision? What's your plan for New York District? Which district?
12.
New York District 12. Fill me in.
Part of me is like, all right, well, I'm in a generation where there's a lot of people who are graduating with degrees they paid a lot of money for. And a lot of these people are graduating with debt into a job market that's being ripped apart by a bunch of robots that are owned by Sam Altman and a bunch of other nerds. And these people are not able to find jobs that offer them decent benefits. And while people are struggling to get jobs with benefits, healthcare premiums are going up. And for those of you who aren't aware, our public health system is being dismantled by a guy who talks like this and posts workout videos and is married to Cheryl Hines. So while our public health system is being dismantled, while our ability to react to public health crises is just being literally picked apart by the Trump administration every day, we are still in a situation where there are people fighting Medicare for all. They're saying we can't pay for it. It's like, okay, well, we seem to be able to afford $1 trillion for ICE to go brutalize people. We seem to be able to pay Palantir and Elon Musk, basically just hand them blank checks. Anytime Benjamin Netanyahu wants more bullets that he can use to snipe little kids in the chest and in the head, according to the UN, we're able to give him those things. And I'm like, man, I feel like we could pay for healthcare. I feel like people who get cancer shouldn't have to worry about their financial future being destroyed. I feel like if you look at Europe, even the conservatives are pro Medicare for all. Like, even the people on the right in Europe believe that or at least claim to believe that everybody in their country deserves to have healthcare. And I just went, a lot of the Democrats we have in office are not fighting for a lot of things that make people's lives better. And the system isn't working. And I have no love for the system. If it weren't for the system, I would not be a school shooting survivor. I would be some kid who just went to high school one day. I was in the Parkland shooting. I was one of the people who was hiding from the shooter and came out and did the activism. And I thought at first that shooting happened in spite of the American system. But what my classmates and I learned very quickly was that shooting happened because of the American system. And at the end of the day, people who are running for office to uphold this system are running to maintain a status quo that gave us Donald Trump, that makes it so we can't have common sense reforms for a lot of different things, and convinces people, by the way, that more government is inherently a bad thing. But what a lot of people don't understand is that almost none of government is politics. Politics is such a small amount of what government actually is. People don't think about that. They don't realize that when their trash gets picked up, that's government. When there's an electrical when your electricity goes out and people deal with it, that's government. They just think that government is politics. So I think the government should be big, and I think that it should help people, and I think that my tax dollars should be going to that and not to ICE or Palantir or the state of Israel murdering people. And I decided that I had something to say about it, but I'm also getting a lot of headaches. So I don't know if I'm going to do it. We'll see.
Let us know. We'll support you either way. And a lot of people in chat are supportive. They say prayers for Parkland. They say we're behind you. So a lot of support. Very quickly, who else is smoking on that Glenn Youngkin pack right now? Anyone else smoking on the Glenn Youngkin pack? I don't know.
I gotta say, I think you might be the first person who has ever said that sentence in their entire life.
He's no longer
invented smoking on the Glenn Youngkin pack.
I'm glad he's going away. Okay, the vests, the vest golf course dad vibe just does not meet the moment.
This is how you know, by the way, that these two guys work with each other. They're using the same mic. They're in different states using the same. There's a million different types of podcast mic.
I think you're just jealous of the pod mic because it's a fantastic microphone. There's some more announcements, Adam, that we're seeing. Democrats have won the House of Delegates in Virginia and are projected to increase their majority. So Democrats will have a governing trifecta in Virginia that is set in stone. They have the lieutenant governor's position, as you saw with Jay Jones. The odds of him winning are now put at 96%.
Let's go. Lay out the consequences of this after you lay out the.
Well, this is a tremendous change because Republicans have controlled the attorney general's position, the governor's position. We've had an extremely narrow Democratic majority in Virginia, and that's prevented us from making real progress on the issues and fighting against the fascist federal government that we are witnessing. That's why my university was targeted by the Trump administration. And speaking of gun violence, Cameron, there was a school shooting risk at my school yesterday. We were in lockdown mode because there was an announcement of an active armed assailant at my school. Now, I was not harmed. Nobody was harmed. But the fact that it was a lockdown and nobody was surprised by that. And like my teacher said, oh, there's somebody here that's reportedly has a gun to shoot people. And nobody was shocked. Nobody said, wow, this is a crazy thing that's happening in our country. Everybody said, oh, I guess it's us now. And that is a damning indictment of the Republican Party, which had every opportunity has sabotaged our attempts to make sure that there's real gun safety protections in this country so our kids, so our students don't have to fear about being shot in their schools.
Yeah, I mean, gun safety stuff is also one of the many places where you could identify just how far right the Republicans have turned in recent years. Because after Parkland, we were working with Republicans. We were like going to their offices and talking to them. So many of them were just so addicted to their NRA money that they wouldn't even entertain us. But there were a lot of Republicans who were like, we need extreme risk protection orders. We need red flag laws and background checks. Like that was the ground they were willing to cede. And of course, we were saying, no, we need an assault weapons ban. Go look at all these mass shootings. See what the one thing that appears at all of them is. But we were able to get Republicans to say, yeah, you should go through a background check before you buy a weapon. Of course. But in the years since, it's crazy to think it's almost been 8 years. But in the years since, Republicans are just going against all of that now. There was a bipartisan school safety board that was Republicans, Democrats, just a ton of people working with principals and law enforcement to make sure that you can react to mass shootings quicker and more efficiently. And one of the first things Trump did in this second administration that didn't get much coverage because he was too busy rattling every other cage was he got rid of it. He got rid of the bipartisan school safety board. There was nothing about guns in the bipartisan school safety board. It was just, how can we make sure schools can react to mass violence quickly? And they were like, nope, that's not happening anymore. But to your point, yeah, that was something my classmates and I experienced in Parkland too. We heard there was a gun and a shooter, and we were just like, oh, it's one of those. We didn't know the reality of the violence. We just assumed that maybe some kid had brought a gun in their backpack or brought a BB gun or something. But then it was very real, very fast. And it just made me not like the way that our politicians work, because we need to stop the authoritarians. We need to fight the authoritarians, but we also need people who are going to advocate for a change in the system, because everything that's happening right now is the result of all of the politics that we've done for the past however many years this country's existed. I don't know, 100.
Yeah, we've existed
If
for about
that.
100,
that.
100 of something.
All right, gang, I'm at a watch party. Let me tell you, everybody watching this, these are two of the best guys you could be listening to right now. Not just in terms of commentary and analytics, but also as people. So you're in good hands. They're going to take care of you tonight. And if you're in line, stay in line.
If you're in line, stay in
Much
line.
love, boys. See y'all later.
Peace
Mike
out, brother.
Haley. Adam, there's some more news. Twitter is fantastic with this stuff. We have won some Georgia Public Service Commissioner races by enormous margins. These are just a few of the kind of lower, less notable roles that were on the ballot, but we're seeing a blue wave around the country, really a blue tsunami. And also Decision Desk has also flipped its projection for Jay Jones. Now they put Jay Jones over 60% in terms of his probability of winning. In certain counties, we're seeing that Jay Jones is actually getting larger margins than Kamala Harris, somebody who did win Virginia handily. So a lot of election experts are saying, really, the Virginia Attorney General's race, which is the one that looked the worst for Democrats nationwide, is now looking increasingly to be another blue victory.
Man, if we had a strong candidate, if we had a candidate who was charismatic as hell, like Zoran, who ran a clean campaign that was incredibly captivating and exciting and energetic, imagine the votes we could get. And I'm not saying that Kamala wasn't those things. Her campaign did excite us, the base, but obviously it didn't excite the broader American populace. So looking at what's happening now, like I'm hearing that a lot of these races are outperforming Kamala, like you just said. Like I've seen multiple tweets saying the same thing. Like, hey, this is beating like Kamala by a lot right now. Kamala is way underperforming, which is kind of indicative of her not really striking the chord that she needed to during the election. Obviously, she got way less votes than Biden, like millions. How many million less votes did she get than Biden? A lot. So, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's nice to see that the Democratic Party has some juice in it, especially with Zoran, especially with Spanberger. We have some juice and it feels good.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice to see that Americans are waking up to the fact that the Republican Party despises the working class and is using their power to sabotage them. And I really hope that we have a Democratic Party that also inspires voters to come out just because they support our candidates, right? We saw during the 2022 midterms under the 2018 midterms under Trump won, we saw a blue tsunami in response to Trumpism. But we need a Democratic Party that does not just exist as a channel of the negative reflex against the Republicans. We need to have our own vision. Republicans had a Project 2025. They're enacting it right now. It's terrible. Democrats need a Project 2029 to put our country back together and to finally restore affordability, the basic economic conditions that are necessary for the American dream. I really hope that our next candidate does that.
Yeah, I agree. Really quickly, thank you, Melanie, for the donation. I see a lot of blue waves. I see a lot of Newsom 2028. How do you guys feel about that? Someone in chat said, as a boomer, you guys can take this. I just want a garden. I don't like working the corner. I'm with you guys. I don't know what Tel Aspar means, but I agree. You can go garden. We'll take it over. You're in good hands. Someone said, what have the results been so far? They've been overwhelmingly positive for Democrats, even in a race, which is Jay Jones, the Attorney General of Virginia race, which was supposed to be kind of tight, kind of 50-50. It seems like Democrats are doing very, very well. Someone in chat said, I love Pritzker. Someone in chat said, not Buttigieg. It's not the time for that. I think he's charismatic, but even beyond being charismatic, there's like a captivating aspect to it. And I like Pete. I interviewed him. I know you did too. He's a great politician. But Newsom is captivating the Democratic Party in a unique way right now. I mean, he's the one that's doing it. So we'll see. Still, we have a few more years. But someone said handsome Gavin all day. Someone said Green Party all day. You might as well just flush your vote down the toilet.
Yeah, just don't even turn out.
Yeah,
I don't understand. It's funny. The Green Party candidates. Where's Jill Stein? You know, Jill Stein said she was going to fight against fascism and give us universal health care and all these things. And nobody ever hears from Jill Stein unless she's trying to spoil the candidate for Democrats and get Donald Trump elected. She is his strongest ally and soldier. I don't take the Green Party seriously. I mean, Zoran is a fantastic example of somebody who said, listen, I understand that America is a two-party system. I don't agree with what the Democratic establishment supports. I'm going to run and offer something different and try to change the party. If you're on a different side of the political aisle, you have very different views than the Democrats, but you still prefer them, you should try to change the Democratic Party, not subvert it and ultimately give elections to Republicans, which is what the Green Party has done.
Yeah, it's very true. And it's just counterproductive. A lot of these third parties, they think that they're pushing towards one specific issue, but they're actually making it worse. I mean, I really don't like the both sides are the same type people. And I see people in my chat do that. It's kind of a nihilistic view that just isn't true.
It's absolutely not true. The two sides couldn't be more different. But also, it's unfortunate that we live in a two-party system. But the reality is, even if you want to end the two-party system, I think that we should have more parties. You have to change the voting system so that other parties can win. And only one party actually has fought for that. That's ranked choice voting, approval voting, these different voting systems that leveled the playing field for alternative parties. The Democrats have passed these kind of provisions around the country, and Republican states, I think it's over a dozen now, have banned alternative voting systems because they're scared about giving third parties a fair chance, even if you don't like the Democrats. If you want a third party, you should still vote for the Democrats because it will increase the likelihood that a third party that you like will one day have a fair chance to win.
Yeah, and dude, really quickly, I'm going to switch off to my other screen, but in New Jersey, we're starting to get a decent amount of results. We have almost 20% in, and with, to be exact, 17.5% of the votes counted, Mickey Sherrill has a handy lead. Now, of course, this could change depending on which districts are counted, depending on the next hour. But right now, it is looking good. And based on the results in other states, you can kind of extrapolate and say that Democrats should have an overwhelmingly good night.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
What time do the polls close in New York? Let me check this out. Keep going.
It also looks like in the Pennsylvania Supreme Court elections, the Democrats are doing well. As some of you may know, the future of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court has been in jeopardy because of these elections where Republicans are trying to take these seats and install radical far-right justices that will not uphold the real laws of Pennsylvania and jeopardize their election integrity and democracy. But it looks like Democrats are very likely to be successful in these elections.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good. It's nice to have an election night that is going our way. We currently have 45 minutes. I mean, last time on live stream, it was pretty brutal when we slowly watched. We have 45 minutes. 45 minutes until Zoran Mamdani starts to get some results in, till the New York polls close. That'll be a good feeling as well. But while we're waiting, let's check out some of the markets. So Jay Jones now has a 98% chance to win, according to Polymarket. We also
you have to keep in mind, that means that there is an enormous amount of bets that are on him. It's like $2 million people have staked on his victory. Either the Jason Miyares fans are going to make an enormous amount of money today, or it's going to be a good night and yet another victory for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be a good victory. I think a lot of people are fleeing the market right now. It seems like people are selling, kind of panic selling in that market. Zohran Mamdani has a 95% chance of winning the New York City mayoral election. That hasn't changed in a bit. Let's see. Mickey Sherrill has just increased to a 97% chance on Polymarket. Now, remember, these aren't official like forecasts on Polymarket based on evidence. They are kind of based on evidence, but it's about gamblers placing money based on the evidence that they see. So it's also based on instinct and based on actors that aren't always rational. But the point is, these bettors who are paying close attention, think Mickey Sherrill is going to win.
And we have some election results already from New Jersey. 21% in. Mickey Sherrill has 64.5% of the vote in that 21% drop. Of course, that's not evenly distributed amongst New Jersey, but with the election results you're dealing with, being up by 30 points isn't so bad.
Not bad at all. Sounds pretty good. I'm gonna add Jack to the stage in just 1 second. We could chat for a bit here. You know what's funny? And this is gonna sound. Oh, bro's all dressed up. You have me dressed down.
It's a big night.
You know what's interesting is every single time I got a notification of the. Oh my lord, who's that?
It's my skeleton. Clearly, you haven't been tuning into the show lately, Adam.
Jack.
That's a self-report right there. He's dressed up too, as he has been for a while.
Bro, every single time Mickey Sherrill's opponent pops up, which is that Jack Chiaretti guy. I think it's your name every time.
My mentions keep getting filled with like, you're gonna lose tonight. Like you're not right for New Jersey, and I'm like, I agree. I'm not right for New Jersey.
Yeah.
I'd be terrible for New Jersey.
I refuse to vote for Jack Cocciarella for the New Jersey governor.
Please do not vote for me unless. Actually,
but what are your thoughts? You guys fill in. I have to. I'm gonna go grab some water. I'll be back in just like 1 second. But yeah,
as you should, King. Micah, I got a question for you. Obviously, we just saw a big Spamberger victory. A lot of people have kind of been billing this as, is this 2028 material? Does this win kind of signify anything about where the party should be moving? Do you think that there are lessons to be learned, or do you think it's like Virginia, federal workers, Doge, shut down, Glenn Youngkin, meh, in his reign of terror over the past 4 years? What do you think there is to be learned from this?
I think there's a huge reaction against Trumpism happening in Virginia because our state has been assaulted. As I was mentioning earlier on this stream, that my university, the University of Virginia, was targeted by the Trump administration with a compact that they tried to coerce us into that would put DOJ monitors at the university, basically federalize, give the Trump administration control over who we could fire, what students we could let in, what materials we teach. That is not something that Virginians want. And so I think that they're reacting in a really strong way. Now, Virginia's never been pro-Trump, but this is the margin of victory for Abigail Spanberger is much higher than what Kamala Harris saw. I also think it's in part because the Republican candidates have been terrible. I mean, look at Winsome Sears. 95% of Winsome Sears' messaging is on bathrooms. Barely any of it's about the economy, which Republicans, as you talk about in your show all the time, are currently destroying. Yeah. But I wonder, you're a huge fan of Zohran. Do you think that we should be nominating a 2028 candidate that looks like Zohran? And if so, what does that look like?
I think we should be nominating just Zohran, period. No, I'm just joking.
That
wouldn't be constitutionally allowed. Imagine the conversations we would be having tonight if he could run for president. Oh my Lord. Things would look
if
very,
Trump
very different.
Overrides the Constitution and runs for a third term, I think we can run Zohran.
Do we run Zohran or do we run Obama?
They have to run a primary against each other. Zohran Obama primary.
The think pieces that would be written. No, I think that, I saw a study about the hits that Democrats take in the Midwest for simply having the D attached to their name on the ballot. And it was running tests talking about economic populists, talking about Sherrod Brown. Let's list all of the credentials. Let's list, everything that he's about. And then put a D in front of that name and see what the swing is. And it's like 10 points. And I don't hate the idea that, the Ezra Kleins of the world toss around and be like, we need Democrats who look like the states that they're representing. No, I don't think that means you become anti-abortion or anti-trans for no reason. It just doesn't make any sense. It kind of makes you look like a squish, especially if you're doing that for political reasons. But honestly, Bernie Sanders proposed this, and I'm going to get to the answer to your question. Last year after the election, which is it's okay to run independents in Nebraska or Missouri, or like, I know this sounds crazy, but maybe even in Ohio, if that's what it takes. If the label right now is so damaging, people will talk about the Democratic Party brand. I think that we have to make liberal and progressive ideas extremely popular first, and then kind of the brand will follow suit. But do we need to elect someone who looks exactly like Zoran? If we can get someone as handsome as him, then we're talking about Gavin Newsom. If we want to say someone as progressive as him and gets people excited, we're talking about AOC. But do we need someone who can just like be honest and communicate and stay on message? Yes. Do I think the party is moving towards a more progressive populist place? I do think so. Is it going to look exactly like Zoran? I don't know. I'd also like to say that, like, what is so radical about a lot of his economic agenda? He's like, the bus, it's cool. I don't know. I don't think he is as like left wing radical as a lot of people have made him out to be. But
Well,
I
you
do
can
think it should be someone who looks
radical
and
has
sounds
like
him.
radical's loaded. I guess it's radical in the spectrum of US ideas because he's pushing the boundary, but it's radical in a good way. It's radically good. But I think I actually, really quickly before Micah jumps in, I like what you were saying about the Ezra thing. Ezra sometimes takes it too far, but he always talks about supermajority thinking. And then if you want a supermajority across the country, you can't be running on one platform. You kind of have to have some flexibility. Like you said, not for candidates to go out there and be like super pieces of shit and be like shitting on minorities or whatever.
Yeah, especially for political purposes, right? If you're
Yeah.
like, I'm going to shit on trans people because I think it's good politically, like that, one, makes you a bad person, and two, it's insincere, and I think that's bad politically.
But the example that they use is like Andy Bashir is popular, but Zoran, his positions wouldn't be popular in that same seat, and vice versa. Like you can't, like there are examples of politicians in different areas that appeal to different demographics in certain ways, and we need to actually embrace that rather than having a rigid ideological test, which I think is true. And I've seen some people like people go against Ezra, I think, a little bit too hard sometimes. They think he's like a Republican light who's trying to push the Democrat. It's like I think he's just trying to win again. But Micah.
Yeah, I mean, Ezra has a really sophisticated operation of consistently endorsing Democrats and supporting their ideas for him to actually be secretly a conservative.
People are.
I'm certainly not saying that. I just think that like
No,
some of the like how we win, let's throw people under the bus, especially. And
I agree with you.
I got to find that like study and share it somewhere. I thought it was very interesting.
No, I saw
is
that,
maybe
yeah.
less to do with some of the policies, because like Andy Bashir vetoed an anti-trans bill. Like Zoran wouldn't support that bill. Andy Bashir has been talking about, bringing. Andy Bashir has been an economic populist in many ways. I just think that our label is kind of what's holding us back more so than our
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, Jack. I mean, I think that one of the things is that the Democratic Party brand is tied to everything Democrats have done since Bill Clinton. I mean, we were in Hillary Clinton in 2016. Kamala was Biden's VP and Biden was Obama's VP. It's a consistent brand. And really what Americans want is something that's anti-establishment, anti the status quo, because the status quo has failed them.
Yeah.
And it's hard for them to look at the Democratic Party and say, you're anti-status quo, when they think back to the past 25 years. And we've been there for actually the majority of what is the status quo. Now, of course, there's the nuanced details that Republicans block every single good thing we ever try to do.
Yep.
But that doesn't change the perceptions of American voters, which is why we need to have candidates that really can signal that they're really outsiders to the existing political system and kind of offer what people want. It's also important to note, guys, Decision Desk is projecting that Mikey Sherrill wins the race for governor in New Jersey. She's currently, I'm looking at the vote splits, over 60% of the vote has gone to her thus far, with
She's
a substantial amount of the vote.
200,000 votes, 207,000 votes ahead.
Damn. Ooh. Got him.
It's a bad night for the other Jack, but this Jack is
so
happy.
Are you telling me I'm not governor? Damn it.
Too many people are writing in Jack Oshirella instead of Jack, the Republican Jack.
Legit, like I would see tweets and I'd be like, oh, I thought it was from that. And I was like, oh, wait, no, it's a different Jack. But dude, Mickey Sherrill is legitimately
mollywopping.
Yeah, she's rolling through now that we don't even have the final totals yet. But let me just really quickly pull this up on screen. I'm going to switch so you guys can see the exact layout of this. This kind of illustrates how much of a blowout it is. 61% goes to Mickey Sherrill, 37 to Jack.
Stop the count.
Stop the count. At least take him to dinner before you
don't
roll
say to Jack. Just say Chitterelli. Don't bring my feelings into this.
But no, that's a good night. I'm excited. Have you guys ever seen? There's a documentary about AOC and her race, and And like just the night that she won, she ran into this bar and she didn't know she had won yet.
Yeah.
And there's a video of this. And the reporter essentially goes, "How do you feel about winning?" And AOC looks at the screen and goes, "Oh my God." She starts freaking the fuck out because it was such a long shot. It was such a long shot race at first. So I feel like the Zoran thing, it's going to be a little bit different because we knew he was going to win, but there's going to be that same catharsis, that same feeling of momentum, I feel like, that AOC's win had in New York.
Yeah, I think people are just like stoked. I think having a big Democratic win is a thing to kind of unite us all, and maybe there's a little reprieve from the pain of everything. And I don't know. It was brought up on. I was just watching the MSNBC stream, and they were talking about how there's really been no consideration through this Trump administration about what it will look like for Republicans in Congress to have to face like the median American voter. And a lot of people have said like they seem to not care about elections. Is it because they're just so committed to Trump at this point and his feelings of the day to day? Is it because they're just ready to rig the midterms and so they don't even care about voting? But I think that this is hopefully a wake up call, not for Republicans to change and become better people. We know that shit's not happening. But to realize that, oh, maybe we can only go so hard. Maybe that means an end to the shutdown. Maybe that means a little negotiation around healthcare. Maybe that just means something is like broken loose a little bit when they look at these devastating defeats. Because again, Spanberger and Cheryl there at the end were being talked about. It's like, is this going to come down to like 2-3 points? What's it going to be? And it's clearly just not going to be the case tonight.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, people don't like Trumpism. They didn't vote for this. We all say, guys, you should have known. The Republican agenda was very clear. They wrote it down in Project 2025. People didn't believe us. Stephen Miller said, nobody related to Project 2025 will be given a position in the administration. Caroline Levitt's the press secretary, and she wrote she was in one of the ads for Project 2025. So they lied. And now the American people are saying, oh my God, I was lied to. Oh my God, I voted for cheaper eggs and lower prices. Inflation is skyrocketing after Trump launched the largest tax hike on goods in American history. Over 50% tariffs on Brazilian coffee beans. Come on.
Doesn't sound good. Do you have
It's
a
not
Keurig?
Popular.
Do you have a Keurig, Micah? Or are you, what are you doing?
I have Starbucks cold brew iced coffee in my fridge every single morning. It gets you through law school,
projects
Jack.
that Hashmi wins the Virginia lieutenant governor. Did we announce this one a bit ago?
We already announced this. The Adam Mockler family of the Adam Mockler stream is hours ahead.
The Mockler decision desk, everyone.
This is the Golden State Warriors in 2016. We're light years ahead. Where's my Mockler media T-shirt? Damn it! What am I coming on this stream for if I don't get merch?
I need to send a bunch around. By the way, buy a Mockler media T-shirt, and also at the same time, actually, we don't have any on the store right now. We're revamping, but really quickly, the Mockler decision desk can call multiple races. That's what we're calling it, the MDD. First of all, the Virginia lieutenant governor race going towards Dems. Abigail Spanberger going towards Democrats. This is some great stuff. This is a good night. Some good Dem momentum. It's interesting what happens when Trump isn't on the ballot. And it's interesting what happens after a year, almost a year.
Oh my God. The betting market for Jay Jones has skyrocketed to have Jay Jones at 100%. Over 99.5%.
Let's go.
$2.3 million on Jay Jones. It is not a good time to be a Jason Miyares fan. It's not a good time to be him. The incumbent Republican Attorney General of the state of Virginia, a spineless coward who's done nothing to defend our state from Trump's attacks. Fantastic news, guys. And everybody was telling me, all these Republicans were being so cocky about this. There's a Republican state senator I've been arguing with in Virginia for months. He's been tweeting every single day, good morning, we're going to win this, or we are winning this.
I don't think they did.
Well, 10 minutes after that, Spanberger won, so good night.
What about Winsome? Remember when Winsome Earl Sears tweeted out aura, and everyone said this is going to age very badly?
Yes.
And it aged very badly right away. There's no aura in that.
How long do you think it's going to take for us to get the Zoran call? Because polls close at 9. Do you think it'll be less than an hour?
It'll be quick. I feel like it's going to be a pretty quick blowout. The Mockler decision desk will probably use the data from certain districts to just predict it before most other analysis or like people know it. But I think we'll know it pretty quickly.
Adam Mock Kornacki, is that what we're going with?
Yeah, we'll know it pretty quickly afterwards. I mean, a lot of it I can just sense.
Adam's just gonna add this to my job description. Okay, I'm like lead policy advisor, like Substack contributor, video contributor, soon to be election analyst. I'm gonna put up on the screen, and I'll be like, go ahead.
Do you want to pick what I'm going to have for dinner too? Do you want to add that to your job description?
Yes, we should. I'm like Marco Rubio right now. As you can see, guys, Zoran has more votes than Cuomo.
You're the Marco Rubio of Mockler Media.
Hell
What
yeah!
else is he doing these days? Oh God.
I'm pretty sure he's leading NASA, if that still even exists anymore.
Sean Duffy got replaced, and it's some other guy now. They're just really.
Wait, is Sean Duffy gone?
No. As the head of NASA,
Jared Isaacman for the head of NASA.
There it is. Wow, that's an incredible poll from you, Adam.
Because I remember when Elon Musk blew up over this exact thing. Wait, really quickly. So Decision Desk HQ projects Peter Hubbard to win the Public Service Commissioner special election for Georgia's 3rd District, which is good. But then someone responded, some like local journalist was like, this is the first Democrat to win a state level race in Georgia in 20 years. Like they're implying that it might have been rigged or something like that.
Wait, but Ossoff won. And Warnock. Oh, I guess if it's they said statewide, okay, state level race.
Yeah, like
that's actually really interesting.
Momentum.
Maybe there was voter fraud by the Republican Party historically. I mean, guys, you don't see this story with Jack Posobiec or whatever, the in wokeness guy.
Yeah.
He talks about voter fraud all the time. Meanwhile, he's been illegally voting, I believe, in the state of, Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, he's a Maryland resident. We need to crack down on Republican voter fraud in this country. I really hope Gavin Newsom, when he becomes God Emperor.
It was earlier this year that Byron Donalds casted a proxy vote, which is illegal under the Johnson reign in the House while he was doing Bill Maher. And so that's another good example of Republican voter fraud. I remember that clip of Jim McGovern calling him out. Shout out to Jim McGovern on this beautiful Tuesday night.
It's not even about voter fraud. It's more about like disenfranchisement. Like they don't even people think that Republicans are going to steal the election. And actually coming up, they will like straight up steal it. But a lot of people think that it's just Republicans going to vote en masse. But what they've done is very intentionally, like surgically carved out minority populations from having access to voting in certain areas. Of course, they make it harder for people to mail in ballots. I mean, all of these ways they disenfranchise voters and disabled people is legit election fraud. They've been doing this for decades too.
Yeah, I mean, Republicans know they can't win whenever people actually get a fair chance to vote them out. And that's why they're trying at every opportunity to rig the next election because their policies are unpopular. Peter Thiel, Curtis Yarvin, the folks that anointed J.D. Vance, gave him the vice president position despite being thoroughly unprepared for it. These are folks that are open in their belief that democracy was a mistake. And we should have a techno-oligarchy conveniently ruled by people like them. Also, guys, Decision Desk says Jay Jones wins. Decision Desk HQ is projecting that Jay Jones wins. That was the most vulnerable Democratic candidate on the ballot today. And now they're saying he's won. It is a terrible day to be a Republican. A great day to be
fun. Well, why can't they all be like this? God, remember last year? Adam, do you mind if I take a look behind the curtain with what happened last year for a second?
Last year, yeah, it was terrible. Wait, really quickly, Mickey Sherrill was called by multiple outlets, but Fox News just went on this long multi-minute tirade about how they won't call it yet. Fox News explains why they're not calling New Jersey for Sherrill yet. And it's like a 3-minute clip of them being like, well, wait a minute, everybody. It's still possible. But yeah, Jack, election night sucked. I mean, yeah.
So the next morning, I stayed up. Some of y'all may have watched some of my stream then. If you did, I apologize for my sadness and despair. At least today is a little bit more fun. But that next morning, I talked to Adam on the phone, and we were just kind of like thinking about the horribleness that was to come. I think I kind of hit the nail on the head there. And what really sent me over the edge as it all set in was Adam said, now Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to be in charge of things. And I literally like dropped my phone and just yelled, and like this cathartic moment of like, oh my God, what's going to happen? So it's nice that we're having the opposite of that tonight. We got the all
momentum
for a little bit of fun.
The momentum will.
Do you want to hit the Gavin hands with me? Everyone, can we
the Gavin hands? Is that like
He's
the
just-
Trump hands?
No, when he's doing like he's talking about something and he
Oh yeah, where he's like
Oh yeah, he does. He does.
he's
do
like,
that.
what we're gonna do with the prop fit and like this.
he
It's
chops
great.
it up.
He
This
does
dude
chop it up.
He's just a chill guy. For real.
That's what happened after our interview. He was like, it's good to see someone as radical and some right wingers like radical and their hand gesticulating as much as he did.
Republicans are so mad. Tim Pool was like, a guy who is threatening children was just elected. This is the Democratic Party. Like, guys.
Trump got
Guys.
elected again?
Yeah.
Trump assaulted children. We know that he wrote love letters to Jeffrey Epstein. So I don't think they have a lot of high ground on that. I always think it's so funny that they pretend to be upset about Jay Jones's text messages. Meanwhile, Trump calls the Democratic Party a gnat on the shoulder of America that needs to be crushed soon in front of the military. And that's just a normal news day. And not a single Republican bats an eye. That's kind of crazy.
Of course, Tim Pool is Civil War posting. He said, Jay Jones is tracking to win, and Republicans still think we're in a debate over how to run the country, meaning like it's not time for a debate anymore. He wants to take it to the next level.
That sounds fun.
Doesn't he live in California?
I think it's actually
Austin?
it's like West Virginia or something.
Oh no, he
Oh,
does live
wow.
in West Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah, he runs his show out of there.
That would
Wait,
be my first executive order as president. I'd be like, anyone who complains about LA, like if you're like a Republican influencer, banned. You can't go to any city with more than like 200,000 people in it. No blue states, no matcha, not allowed any of
Investigate Tim
that.
Pool too.
You can't have any of the A24 movies. You just got to watch like the Reagan movie again and again.
Oh yeah, that was I watched that movie for my last birthday. Of course I hate my friends. I forced them to go to that. Really awful stuff that they're putting out there. I think it's incredible to me that Republicans talk so much about bad big blue city governance. Meanwhile, they never pay attention to any of the metrics for a state like West Virginia, which objectively, in almost every respect, is one of the worst states in this country. It's in a close competition with Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana for the
Gavin.
worst possible places in America.
Do the
I mean,
hands.
yeah, we need this, but it's just like, you want to talk about top homicide states? It's 7 out of the top 10 are red states. I mean, you want to talk about highest poverty rates, lowest insurance rates, highest unemployment rates, lowest GDP, all of it are red states. Why doesn't Tim Pool go take his whiny beanie ass and go to the West Virginia Capitol and ask the lawmakers there to stop making their state a shithole?
No, it's too
Just my
hard.
opinion.
Why don't I just whine online? Like,
Talk to him.
why can't he just whine online all the time? He's such a
Talk
pussy
to him.
too.
Yeah,
But
it is pretty funny.
I'm gonna wrap up the stream in a minute or two here because I'm gonna go grab some dinner with some friends or whatever. I'm gonna go celebrate
earned
the
it.
victory.
You earned a big dog. Where are you
But
going? Don't
it was
like
nice
dox
to
yourself.
chat.
But what are you getting?
Probably burritos.
Fuck yeah, sounds great. I had Chipotle earlier. Smacked it.
Oh,
All right.
dude, I've been having Chipotle every day. Okay, I love you guys. Peace out. I love everybody who tuned into the live stream. We had a great time. We'll be doing more live coverage, more debates, more of everything. You can check out Jack and Micah. You can go on YouTube.
Can you plug my channel? I need to grow it.
Yeah, I'm linking it right here. Check out Micah and Jack on YouTube. I'll link both of their channels. They're both great content creators. And
Jack's channel is slightly less in need of help than mine, just a tiny bit.
I'll link the skeleton as well.
Incredible.
I've lost my mind. We're having fun. Adam, thank you so much for having me. What you are building is so incredible to watch and to be a part of in short spurts. You're the man. I think everyone here knows that. Micah, always great to see you, brother. I think you're going to be here in DC as well this week. I'm not doxing you. I'm just excited to see you. Thank you. You guys are killing it. Your collabs are so much fun. Clearly, Adam doesn't watch my show, but I watch his, and I watch you guys both.
They're saying in chat that they're loving this stream. They love the coverage. So thank you all for being here. I think Midas is live right now, so go check it out, and we'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.